فرش التراب يضمني وهو غطائي.
إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك وشرف وبارك ومعجل ومعظم على سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمد طب الزهور ودوائها وعافية الأبدان وشفائها ونور الأبصار وضيائها وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. صلاة وسلاما عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه يا سيدي يا حبيب الله صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونستهدي ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له إلها واحدا ربا شاهدا ونحن له مسلمون. وأشهد أن سيدنا وشفيعنا وحبيبنا وقرة أعيننا ونور قلوبنا محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسل الله تعالى بالحق بشيرا ونذيرا وداعيا إلى الله بإذنه وسراجا منيرا. صلى الله تعالى عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه وأزواجه وذرياته وأهل بيته وطاعته وأولياء ملته وعلماء شريعته وشهداء أمته أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. ثم أما بعد، فأعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إذا زلزلت الأرض زلزالها وأخرجت الأرض أثقالها وقال الإنسان ما لها يومئذ تحدث أخبارها بأن ربك أوحى لها يومئذ يصدر الناس أشتاتا ليروا أعمالهم فمن يعمل مثقال ذرة خيرا يره ومن يعمل مثقال ذرة شرا يره. صدق الله مولانا العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الحبيب الأمين الكريم. My most respected and honored crowns of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah ulama millat Islamiyya, my brothers and my sisters who are listening, I sincerely hope and pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enables me to speak the truth regarding this matter and for you to hear the truth. For this matter that we are going to be discussing today, inshallah, is of extreme importance regarding Iman, learning about the signs of Qiyamah. It concerns faith. It's not entertainment. It's not storytelling. It's not passing time. It's not a mere discussion. It's a very important discussion. Going back to Hadith Jibreel, which I'm sure all of you are familiar with, inshallah, when the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was asked, "Akhbirni ala as-sa'a," tell me about the hour. And the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa replied, in which means, the questioner knows no better than the one being questioned, but here are the signs. And he sallallahu alayhi wa sallam gave us the minor signs in that particular hadith. The prophetic tradition which refers to the major signs of Qiyamah. This prophetic tradition is very well known, and the incident is as follows. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam once led Salatul Fajr, and then he aligned himself upon the pulpit. And then the narrator of the hadith says, he gave us the major signs of Qiyamah, of the Day of Judgment, leading up to the day itself. For those of us who remembered, we remembered. And for those of us who forgot, they were forgotten. The ones we remembered were as follows. And then he gave the signs of Qiyamah themselves. The narrator says that the Messenger of Allah spoke right up until Salatul Dhuhr. Then he came off the blessed pulpit and he led Salatul Dhuhr, then he sat on the pulpit again. And then he spoke up until the time of Asr. And then he left the pulpit and then he spoke again. And as the Messenger of Allah described the signs, the companions who gave the descriptions have said it was as if he was looking at the signs and describing them. And then they said, he put the fear of Allah in us. So, first and foremost, hearing about the signs of Qiyamah should put fear of Allah in us. Secondly, hearing about the signs of Qiyamah should make you an individual who repents towards Allah straight away and makes an intention to turn towards Allah completely. Number 3, it should make you firm in Iman. Number 4, it should remind you that you and me one day will be distinguished. That day when it comes, when we are extinguished, when we are distinguished between the believers and the non-believers, that day will come. If you are alive upon that day, when the ground shakes, and then the believers are put to one side and the non-believers are put to the other side, and if you are put towards the Ahlul Yaman, the people on the right-hand side, then you will be successful on the day of Qiyamah itself. And if you fall towards the left-hand side, then you are amongst Ashab al-Shimal, the people of the left-hand side. So, the extinguishing will happen on the day itself, on the day of Qiyamah itself. But before that, it will already become apparent who is from the believers and who is from the non-believers. These signs that I'm about to tell you, I heard from my own teacher, Sayyidi wa Mawlaya Shaykh Murabbi, Qari Abul Kalam Sahab Rizvi, Qadri, Hafidullah Ta'ala, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect and preserve him and grant him a long life. And in the second instance, I heard about these signs from Sayyidi Shaykh Habib Qasim Saqqaf, Hafidullah Anhu. In the third instance, I heard from Shaykh Abdul Aziz Ahmed. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect and preserve him, and I give you the narrations that I heard. The 10 major signs that have been given during that talk that the Messenger of Allah gave to the companions, during that long speech that he gave. Number 1, we must understand the fact that the Messenger of Allah went out of his way that day to make the companions sit and give them these signs. It gives us an understanding straight away that it is extremely important to know what they are. Number 2, look at the time span. And we know that that time of the Prophet ﷺ in his lifetime, that was the best of times. And it had a lot of blessings in it, a lot of barakah in it. I mean, you will find regarding the time itself, that one of the signs of Qiyamah is that there will be no blessings in time. The closer to Qiyamah you get, there will be no blessings in time. It doesn't mean time will decrease in any way. It means what you could have done previously in an hour, it will take you 4 or 5 hours to do. There will be no blessing in time. And we know from the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, our master Sayyidina wa Mawlana Ali ibn Abi Talib, karramallahu wajhul kareem, it has been attributed to him that there was such blessing in the time, and the man himself was full of blessing, that when he would get onto his horse, he would start reciting the Quran al-Kareem. And by the time he finished sitting on the horse, he had completed the recitation of the Quran. This was Mawlai Kainat, the master, Sayyidina Ali ibn Abi Talib. So there's blessing in his time. So there's blessing in the Mawla, in the master himself. The closer to Qiyamah you get, it takes today, if someone sits down to recite the Quran al-Kareem, if they want to complete it in one sitting, it can take you up to 8 or 9 hours, or even more, or even 30 days, or even 4 weeks, or even 12 months, or even the whole lifetime, just to complete the Quran once. This happens to many of us, me included. It takes ages and ages to complete the Quran. Qiyamah itself, leading up to it. Number one, I want to, inshallah, try to put aside some misconceptions. Because the deen is not based upon theories. The deen is based upon fact. The deen is not based upon misconceptions, it's based upon reality. The deen is not something that is spoken about and there's a maybe within there. The deen is as such, when it is spoken about, it is the truth. In the deen and Allah Islam. Towards Allah, Islam is the only deen. And everything regarding the deen is an established fact. So these conspiracy theories that go flying about, and many a time believers get involved in them and get confused in the matter. Number one, let's try to put aside these theories first before we speak about the reality itself. If someone says to you, and the reason I say this is because some brothers have mentioned this to me. If someone says to you that Dajjal, the false Messiah, and the word Masih has been used. Messiah comes from the Arabic terminology, someone who walks on the ground barefooted. That is a Masih. So there is no layer between the sole of the foot and the ground itself. So we have the false Messiah and we have the true Messiah. The true Messiah is Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam. And the false Messiah is Dajjal. Okay? If someone says to you that Dajjal is not actually a man, and Dajjal is the TV, then that is a misconception. Dajjal is a real man. And if someone says to you the $1 bill, the American currency, the dollar bill, that is Dajjal. No, it's not. It's a piece of paper. That's all it is. It's a piece of paper with a pyramid picture on it and an eye stuck on it. That is not Dajjal. Okay? If someone says to you that a certain president of America is Dajjal, he isn't. He may have the traits of Dajjal, but he's not Dajjal. He's not the one that's been spoken about. The real Dajjal is a man who will come. He will have one eye. You understand? And the believers will look towards it and they will be able to see the letters Kaf, Fe and Re written on his forehead, representing kufr, disbelief. Okay? And he is alive today as he was thousands of years ago. And without going into too much detail, because I'm a common individual and I speak commonly, Dajjal is known, the location where he is known by people. He is inside a well, but that well does not have any water in it. He is tied up in chains, and he has been seen by people to come up to the top of the well and look around, and people have asked him, who are you or what are you? And he has asked them, doesn't matter who I am. Has Muhammad the son of Abdullah come and gone? And they say, yes, he has come and gone. And so he starts rejoicing, and he says, my time is close, my time is close. So Dajjal is not the TV, or it's not the dollar bill, it's not theories that people come up with. It's an established fact that he is a man. He has one eye. His eye was injured in his youth. You understand? He wasn't born with one eye. He has one eye. His left eye was injured. And if he takes off the piece of cloth covering his eye, it looks like a grape. You know, the eyeball itself, it looks like a grape sticking out of his head. You understand? Hence it's covered up. So this theory about there's a child born in Palestine and this child has one eye, no proof that the child is born. Shut up. It's not true. Removing Quran and Hadith and just going by your own whims and desires and making up things, this is something that is detested. This is something that the Messenger of Allah ﷺ has given a stern warning against. Do not make up things from your own whims and desires. Do not be suspicious about matters of the deen. If you are not sure about them, find out the truth. Don't take a picture from the internet, stick it on Facebook and write a long paragraph. Look, there's a baby born in Palestine, there's got one eye and the child is born in Palestine. No, really. The hadith says one thing and you say another thing. Which is why we have to be extremely careful when we discuss such matters. So your words do not contradict the prophetic speech. So this misconception, and then another thing that the world's governments are the armies of Dajjal. Sincerely, I ask you, how do you know? Seriously, how do you know that the world's governments, all of the Western governments, these are all the armies of Dajjal? How do you know this? You find it in any ayah of the Quran? You find it in any Sunnah? If not, then it can't be true, because Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah is Quran and Sunnah. And we do not move away from Quran and Sunnah. We are Quran and Sunnah. There's nowhere in the Quran where it can be found, nowhere in the Hadith and the Ghousia where it can be found, that the world's governments are the armies of Dajjal. What we do know from a hadith in Nabi Sharif, who is the army of Dajjal? Number one, those people who refrain from doing the dhikr of Allah constantly and consistently and invite others away from the dhikr of Allah. Number two, those individuals, and this is all signs of the army of Dajjal, can be found in many, many lengthy texts of the explanation of the hadith and the Sharif, the prophetic traditions. Those people who will do and say things which will, when a believer hears this, a believer will feel as if they are trying to speak low of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And these people have not been described as governments of the world. They are people from amongst who claim to be from our own community. That they will speak against the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, yet they will believe that they are doing good. I'll give you a clear example. Not so long ago, I'm not sure if this happened in London or not, but in certain universities in the Midlands, there was talks being given. And the title of the talk was, How Not to Love the Prophet Muhammad. Who does this? Which Muslim gives a talk of how not to love the Prophet ﷺ? And then the talk wasn't about how not to love him. The talk was about don't do milad, don't do mawlid of the Prophet ﷺ, don't remember him more than you need to, don't say Ya before you mention Rasul, so don't say Ya Rasulullah. And all of these things were said, and people left that talk actually believing that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi, whose speech is the speech of Allah, they left that talk believing that he is like our younger brother or our older brother. That we can say what we want about him, he won't mind. At the end of the day, it's all about Allah. Let me ask you, who taught you? Allah. The one who taught us how to say Allah, to speak about him in such a way. Straight away, if you've read the sharah, the explanation of the hadith of the people of Dajjal, it becomes apparent who is the army of Dajjal. Now, I've not mentioned a group or a certain manhaj methodology. Samajhne walon ko ishara kafi hai. You need to understand who are the people of Dajjal. And then the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam also said that the people of Dajjal, his army, during their lifetime will not be those who are away from the mosques. They will not be those who did not used to fast in Ramadan. They will not be those who did not used to recite the Quran. In fact, people who looked as if they are from the greatest of believers will fall for Dajjal's tricks. So let me ask you, when people say the Western governments, these are the army of Dajjal, as far as I know, none of them pray 5 times a day or fast in the month of Ramadan or come to the mosque or pray Quran. So the hadith says one thing, and these theories are saying another thing. You understand? Do you get my point? The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave these signs. So you need to understand who are the people of Dajjal. So these And there's many others, and we don't have much time. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, we can't even compare our whole life to 1 second of his life. But when he gave the narration of the signs of Dajjal and the signs of Qiyamah, then it was from Fajr right up until Isha. I pray that Allah puts blessings in our time and we're able to at least pick out on points that is important for all of us to know, inshallah. The 10 signs that have been given as the major signs of Qiyamah. Number 1, the Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah around the whole world unanimously have accepted. The scholars have accepted that we have been through all of the minor signs of Qiyamah. We now only await the major signs. So all of the minor signs have come and gone. You understand? The minor signs when the first one that was given to us, the physical passing of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, sign of Qiyamah. When Muslim turns on Muslim, sign of Qiyamah. When bloodshed becomes so apparent that it will be difficult for you to save yourself, sign of Qiyamah. When scholars are not spared from slander and backbiting. The ulama of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah are not spared from people who claim to be their own as well. You know, there's a saying in Urdu, "Ghar ki murgi dal ki tarah hoti hai." Ghar ki murgi na dal ki tarah. You know, if you eat chicken at your own house, it's mine. You understand? If you eat chicken at someone else's house, it's big things. You know? Ghar ki murgi dal ki tarah. When the ulama, especially in their own locality or communities that they associate with, there comes a time when those very people who the scholars used to serve, they turn against them. And they use anything and everything they can to tarnish their reputation. They go out of the way to prove to people he's not worthy of being a scholar. Yet Allah knows what's in their hearts. About the ulama, the scholars, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam gave these signs. And then he said, Mustadrak of Ibn Hakim, the hadith can be found there. And then he said that the flesh of the scholars is poison. Meaning, if you backbite about them and you slander them, then you will be taking poison into your mouth, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will unleash His wrath upon you, and people will not spare you for what you done to the scholars of the deen. When this happens, this is from amongst the last minor signs of Qiyamah. And this has become very apparent today. I'm sorry to say this, my brothers and my sisters who are listening, but no one is spared. Only yesterday, we were at the gathering in the remembrance of Sheikh al-Bouti in Nottingham. And up there, that's all that was being said to us. That we have come into that time where the scholars are not spared from backbiting and slander to the extent where many of them have actually left their public duties. Mainly because of fear of fitna. Whereas so much khair could have come from them, so much goodness could have come from them, but people have pushed them to that extent where they have given up. I can't do this anymore. Hence I'm taking a step back. I want to live a normal life, just do my own thing. Why? The moment you put into the public eye, you are not spared. Especially by those people who you served. When this happens, and you know one of the greatest things Shaitan has done is convince people that the righteous scholars of the deen are false. And this is something Shaitan took upon himself. In the Ahadith al-Nabawi Sharif, when Shaitan was told, what will you use as a tool? He said, one of the things I will do is convince people that the inheritors of the prophets are not rightfully inheritors. Meaning the ulama are not correct. And people will turn on them. And Shaitan is successful in this matter, and this has happened. So all of these signs have come and gone. This is one of the minor signs. Now we await the 10 major signs. Number 1, regarding Sayyidina Isa ala nabiyyina wa alayhi salatu wassalam. Before we go into that sign itself, one thing needs to be clarified. Sayyidina Isa alayhi salatu wasalam is alive, as you and me are today, you understand? He has not tasted death yet.
He's upon the third sky and he is alive. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed certain awliya of this ummah. Certain awliya of this ummah, they have been blessed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that they are even able to communicate with them up to today. Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam, the reason I say this is because, out of not knowing what the truth is, when Muslims start to watch these movies and they believe the movies to be the truth, Passion of Christ, when a brother came to me in the Masjid and he says, it was really bad what they done to Isa alayhi salam, really bad. That's what would have what to them. They beat him up. And they hung him on a cross. It was really bad. Who told you this? You see, that movie is true. You see, problematic. As made by John. Let's go have some chicken. So we went for some chicken, to Don chicken. I'm sure he knows exactly what I'm talking about when I say Don chicken. This bomb chicken place in Leicester. I sat the brother down. We had chicken and then I spoke to him. Isa alayhi salam is alive. Yes. Just as you and me are. He says, but the movie, forget what the movie says. Listen to what the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. Listen to what the Quran says. You understand? So we don't need movies and books and conspiracy theories to teach us our deen. We have the Quran. We have the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We have the statements of the Sahaba. We have the statements of the awliya. That's all we need. So Isa alayhi salam is alive and he will come down again inshallah. Before Sayyidina Isa ala nabiyyina wa alayhi salatu, and remember when he does come down this time, he will not come as a prophet. He's not going to come with a new revelation. He's not going to come and declare anything new, a new religion. No, he's going to come as a member of the community of Sayyidina Nabi alayhi salatu wa sallam. So he's going to be part of this ummah. You understand? And his place of burial was already being pointed out by the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that Isa will be lying behind me in my Rawdah. So that place in Rawdah al-Sharif, it has been marked out on the ground, and up there it is written on the floor, هذا قبر Isa. This is the qabr of Isa. Isa alayhi salam is going to be buried in Rawdah al-Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When he comes back this time, according to correct narrations, he will marry and he will have children. You understand? He will be here for a period of time where he will marry and he will have children. Previously, when he was here on the earth, on the farsh, on the ark, he did not marry and have children. You understand? So this other conspiracy theory, that his bloodline is the holy grail, that is being sort of protected and being hunted by people, according to Mr. Dan Brown and Daluchi Cole. No. It's a good story. Understand? A bit of entertainment, but that's all it is. It's not the truth. Sayyidina Isa ala nabiyyina wa alayhi salatu did not have any children. When he comes this time, this is when he will marry and have children. Before he comes, Sayyidina Mahdi alayhi salam will come. And what are the signs of Sayyidina Mahdi alayhi salam's coming? Wallah, I only say this to you because of what I heard from the righteous ulama of the deen. The signs around us today are the signs of the coming of Mahdi alayhi salam. And as I mentioned yesterday in the talk, I won't be surprised. By Allah, I'm sitting in the house of Allah and I say the truth in this matter. I won't be surprised if we hear about the declaration of Mahdi alayhi salam in our lifetime. I'm not saying it will happen. I've got no authority in that matter. But I won't be surprised if we hear of it. But Mahdi alayhi salam has been declared. Because of what is happening around us, the signs are very, very apparent. In line with the prophetic traditions, ahadith in Abu Sharif. What are the signs? Bilal al-Sham will fall into a state of turmoil. There will be great bloodshed. Scholars will be martyred. The Awam will be massacred in their thousands in Bilal al-Sham. Understand? And we are seeing it now. This is one of the signs that's been given. Number two, unworthy individuals will be made leaders of the community. We are seeing this today. Number 3, rightful owners of the Musalla will be moved that you are not capable of leading Salah, we're not going to pray Salah behind you anymore. Rightful owners of the Musalla will be removed. The Ahl al-Bayt al-Nubuwwah, the prophetic household, will not be spared from fitna. Sayyid Zadeh, Sadat Ikram, people will slander them, speak bad of them, to the extent where they will not spare them in any matter. Any false accusation you can think of will be put upon the descendants of the Prophet ﷺ. When this happens, know that that noble descendant of the Messenger ﷺ, as said by Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas radiyallahu ta'ala warda, huwa min bani Fatima wa huwa haqqun, that he will be from the children of Fatima and he is the truth. And our master said, the Nabi alayhi salatu wa said, even if there remains one day before Qiyamah happens, it will not happen until my grandson Mahdi declares himself. The Mahdi alayhi salam, he will declare himself. And what signs have been given? In the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his father's name will be Abdullah. His mother's name will be Amina. He will be from both a Sayyid and a Sharif, meaning he will be Hassani and Hussain. You understand? Hassani and Hussain is Sayyid. His face will not resemble the face of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. His complexion will have a sort of reddish tint to it. He will be a very, very modest, humble individual who will not speak much. His blessed nose will be almost hooked, a hook. It resembles a hook, the blessed nose. Sayyidina Mahdi alayhi salam, his beard will be brownish, it will have a brownish tint to it, and it will come to his chest.
الصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا سيدي يا حبيب الله. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آت سيدنا محمد الوسيلة والفضيلة والدرجة الرفيعة وبعث مقاما محمودا الذي وعدته وارزقنا شفاعته يوم القيامة إنك لا تخلف الميعاد برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.
So Sayyidina Mahdi alayhi salam, these are the signs that have been given about him. He will be seen running from Madinatul Munawwara towards Makkah al-Mukarram. In the first instance, when he is seen there, then the people who see him go towards Makkah al-Mukarramah will recognize that this is Mahdi alayhi salam. But it will not be openly declared at that time. There is another narration that will be seen going from Bilad al-Sham towards Makkah al-Mukarramah. Before the coming of Sayyidina Mahdi alayhi salam, the people who are part of his army, Allah make us amongst those people. The people who are part of Mahdi alayhi salam's army, not all of them will be fighters in the main battle that will happen. There will be many small battles that happen. You understand? Many small battles that happen before the main one itself, in which Dajjal is killed. You understand? There will be many small battles leading up to it, but all of the people in the battles who partake, anyone who becomes martyred in there will be known as the best of martyrs of their time. There will be a battle that takes place, which starts off as a scuffle in the courtyard of Masjid al-Aqsa. In the courtyard of Masjid al-Aqsa. You understand? There will be a scuffle there between two groups of people. Then it will be declared that we are going to fight you. It will be Muslims against the Christians. This will pour out into present-day Turkey. Up there, what will happen is the Christians will declare victory and the Muslims will declare victory. Amongst the Christians, there will be a split. The split will be as such that half of the Christian army will join the Muslims, and then the battle will carry on. And in that, Allah will grant success to the Muslim army. And then amongst the Christians and the Muslims who join together, there will be another battle. These small battles that will happen will be leading up to the best of Mujahideen, the best of the warriors of their time, and many of them will become shaheed in the final battle, and they will be known as Afdalu Shuhada, the best of the Shuhada of their times. And there will also be a group of believers who run away out of fear, and about them the Messenger of Allah said that they are the worst of the believers of their time for turning their back. Sayyidina Mahdi alayhi salam, his declaration, before that happens, there will be descendants of Abu Sufyan. From his descendants who will be coming to look for Sayyidina Mahdi alayhi salam, but their intentions will be to fight against the descendants of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The ground will open up outside the south of Makkah al-Mukarramah in an area known as Bayda. The ground will open up in Al-Bayda, and that army will be swallowed up by the ground. The ground will swallow that army who were coming with the intention to fight against the descendants of the Prophet ﷺ, but they are known as the descendants of Abu Sufyan. This theory that people have come up with, that the people of the black flag, which has been mentioned in the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, that they are from amongst the army of Sayyidina Mahdi al-Islam, and one of the signs is that they will hoist black flags and they will be wearing black turbans. And they say, and people are openly writing this up on the internet, so I speak about it openly, they say that this is the Taliban, that because they wear black flags and they're hosting, they wear black turbans and they wear black flags. The Messenger of Allah also said that the army of Mahdi alayhi salam will be foremost in my remembrance. In the remembrance of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Meaning what? Every opportunity given to the milad of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. To the dhikr of Sayyidina Nabi alayhi wasallam. And that incident, which refers to the hoisting of the black flags and the black turbans, that will not become apparent until Mahdi al-Islam is declared. Not before his declaration. The hadith is what? Yes, the black flags have been mentioned. The black turbans have been mentioned, but when? After the declaration of Mahdi al-Islam. Has Mahdi al-Islam declared himself? Does anyone know of his declaration? Does anyone know? If he had declared himself, trust me, a true believer will not be staying here. Because when his declaration happens, people will run forth towards the blessed lands, Makkah al-Mukarramah and Medina al-Munawwara, to join the armies of Mahdi al-Islam. No one, a true believer, will not remain in their own birthland, or where they are living. So as far as I know, Mahdi al-Islam has not declared himself, So how can we say that the Taliban are these people? But I know people in East Africa where we come from, who are Qadri in Tariqah, who are from the descendants of the Prophet ﷺ, who hoist black flags and wear black turbans when they do the Mawlid of the Prophet ﷺ, could be them. I know people in North Africa, in Morocco, from the Shadri order, when they do dhikr, they hoist black flags, and the Shaykh of the Tariqah wears a black turban. Could be him. Why the Taliban? What's this obsession with the Taliban being from the army of Mahdi al-Islam? You need to understand, when people say these things, it totally goes against the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. So we should not be making such statements until they are the complete truth, and the truth is established in the matter. Sayyidina Mahdi al-Islam, when his declaration finally happens, when he is declared, he will be doing the tawaf of the Kaaba. He will complete the first round, he will complete the second round, he will complete the third round. The 40 Abdal of Bilad al-Sham, the 40 high-ranking awliya from the blessed lands. And Bilad al-Sham, we need to understand, is not only Syria. Bilad al-Sham is also Jordan, Palestine. This is all Bilad al-Sham. You understand? Kulluhum min Bilad al-Sham. All of it is from Bilad al-Sham. The 40 Abdals have been mentioned in the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, through whose blessings we receive sustenance, through whose blessings we receive barakah and our livelihood. Why? When they supplicate, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala distributes the barakah. You understand? When they supplicate. So in the first instance, it is given to Sayyidina Nabi alayhi salatu wa taslim, rizq, who passes it on to our master, Sayyidina Shaykh Abdul Qadir al-Jilani, who then distributes it to the other awliya, and they distribute it in their respective lands. And this is proven from the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. One particular shaykh of a certain methodology, I think his name is Ibn Taymiyyah, he said that this hadith is false, that this hadith is mawdu' and da'if and made up and not true and so on and so forth. That was his opinion. There are 106 muhaddiseen who have said that this hadith is sahih. So I go for the 106. Because the majority is the group of salvation. And amongst those 106 are Imam Azam Abu Hanifa, Imam Shafi'i, Imam Muhammad ibn Hanbal, and Imam Malik. Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani also says this. Imam Fakhruddin al-Razi also said this. Sarkari al-Hazrad has also said this. You understand? So when these individuals say something, it makes more sense. They have said that this hadith is not da'if, but it is a Hassan hadith, and this hadith is proven. Why? They say, we ourselves, when we were in need of something, we go to the awliya, ask them to do dua. As soon as they lift their hands, Allah gives it to us. So when the 40 awliya unanimously will be doing tawaf, it will be Hajj time. You understand? It will be Hajj time, Hajj time. They will see Mahdi alayhi salam, and they will consult with one another during the tawaf, and they will say, this is Mahdi alayhi salam. And they will hold him on the right arm. He will move away from them. He will say, I am not Mahdi al-Islam. Will carry on doing this tawaf. They will hold him again. And he will move away again. I am not the Mahdi al-Islam. The third time when they hold him, a voice will be heard. And that voice will say, هذا مهدي وخليفة الله. This is the Mahdi and he is the Khalif of Allah, meaning the representative of Allah's deen. Pledge allegiance to his hand, and Mahdi al-Islam will be declared. After Sayyidina Mahdi al-Islam is declared in the Haram, the blessed sanctuary of Makkah al-Mukarramah, then the news will spread far and wide amongst the Muslim Ummah. Believers will rapidly leave their respected homes, the lands that they live in, to go forth towards Sayyidina Mahdi al-Islam with the intention of joining his army. Sayyidina Mahdi al-Islam will move out of Al-Hijaz al-Muqaddasa, what they call Saudi Arabia, with the blessed land of Al-Hijaz, and move towards Bilad al-Sham. The Umayyad Masjid in the city of Damascus, it will be there that Sayyidina Mahdi alayhi salam will be leading Salatul Fajr, and before the the iqamah happens, the call to prayer, not the adhan itself, the call to prayer itself, not the invitation to prayer, the call to prayer itself. Before the iqamah happens, there will be an individual who will be seen in the wudu area performing ablution. This will be Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam. Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam, his coming down will be as such that he will be his both arms resting upon the two angels, the shoulders of the two angels, and he will be carried down on a cloud. He will come into the wudu area. He will come into the wudu area from the eastern minaret. If you go to the blessed Masjid, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect that Masjid and the people of that land, you will see that the eastern minaret is there and then the wudu area is very close by. The Imam who will be leading the prayer will be given an indication that Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam has come down, and the signs of Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam are as follows, given in Ahadith al-Nabawi Sharif, that his arms will be so long they will be below his knees when he stands. His arms are long, so his hands go below his knees. His blessed hair is up until his shoulder, and his beard is flowing. The blessed hair itself is wavy, and it will look as if he has just put water over himself. But that will be pearls of sweat, his blessed sweat. You understand? His blessed sweat will be like pearl. Sayyidina Isa ala nabiyyina wa alayhi salatu wasalam will come down, and Sayyidina Mahdi alayhi salam will be there. What I'm pointing out to you are the major, or the very briefly, because of time restraint and so on and so forth, but the major signs within the signs themselves. There have been many things written and said about that particular incident, about who will lead the salah and the bleeding of the nose and so on and so forth. But that part of the tradition itself is not obligatory information. Obligatory is to know that Isa alayhi salam will come there and Mahdi alayhi salam will be there. That is important to know. Because there is ikhtilafat, the differences of opinion amongst the ulama of the description of the incident itself, of the bleeding of the nose, and then the Imam taking a step back and saying that you lead the salah because you're a descendant of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He's saying no, you lead the salah because you're a Prophet of Allah, and so on and so forth. And these are open to discussion amongst the scholars of the deen. You understand? The points that I'm making now are the important and major points within the signs of the major signs themselves. There will be, after the salah, there will be a pact that is made between Isa alayhi salam and Mahdi alayhi salam. And this pact will be to fight the Dajjal. This is the major battle that will happen. So you know when people nowadays say Third World War's going to start, Third World War's going to start, I think with the biggest battle ever, you know, that's the main one, that's the big thing that's going on. You understand? And they're getting very excited about this. The last and major battle will happen, but it will be led by Isa alayhi salam and Mahdi alayhi salam. You understand? It's not going to happen now. It's not going to be led by Russia or America or something like that. When Muslims get involved in these matters and they get very confused, then it's confusing for people like myself and where do you start from? Where do you start explaining from that? There will be a battle, but it's not this battle that we think, or North Korea against South Korea against France or something, you know. This isn't the major battle. These battles may happen, Allah Alam, I have no knowledge of that information. The things that I speak of can be found in Ahadith al-Nabawi Sharif, the prophetic traditions, and the Quran itself, inshallah. At that time, what will be the state of the Dajjal, the false Messiah? And how far will he have gone? Dajjal will already have declared himself. In the first instance, when Dajjal emerges from the well, then he will travel around the whole globe. His mode of transport has been described in the Ahadith al-Nabawi Sharif, which can be found in the Sahih of Imam Muslim, and Rawat al-Majah, that his mode of transport is what has been described as a red donkey, which has big ears, and between the ears up to 70 people can sit. It will be a mode of transport which isn't only on the ground, but it can also fly. You understand? Some people have brought this into modern terminology, and they have said that this describes an aeroplane, that it will be an aeroplane with red wings, and 70 people can sit in between the wings in each row, and there will be 70 rows, and the child will be upon that plane. Wallahu a'lam bis-sawab. I don't know. I genuinely don't know, and I don't want to know either. If the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said it, it will happen, whether it be a real donkey or an aeroplane. You understand? Dajjal will travel around the whole globe. In the first instance, Dajjal will claim to be a leader of a nation, and his followers will be as such that he will go from group to group performing what looks like a miracle, and then people will fall for this, what they see around them. Now, you know, these modern day magicians that we see around on TV and stuff, David Blaine, and is it David Blaine? No, David Blaine, the one, and then there's the other one who walked on water or something, and one went through glass and one sat in ice. Yeah? Is that David Blaine, yeah? And then who's the other one? Huh? See, he knows. He watches. So do you brothers know what I'm talking about? At least nod your heads, so I'm not talking to humans, yeah? So you know these modern day magicians, when people look at a true believer will say what? Astaghfirullah, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-aliyyil azim. There is no might and power and strength except what comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You understand? This is all tricks of the eyes, and it is all from the jinns and the shayateen, sihr, black magic, because what the awliya perform, that is a true miracle. What the non-believers perform in such matters, Iman tells us, faith tells us, it can never be put down as a miracle. Wallah, there are awliya alive even today. If they want, they can put their hand into mid-air and pull something out. And that will be the haqq, that will be the truth. Because the karama, the miracles attributed to awliya, come from the blessings of the Mu'jizatul Nabawi Sharif. You understand? They are the inheritors of the prophets, hence they have inherited this from the prophets. When the prophets perform it, mu'jiza. When the awliya perform it, karam. فإن هي العقيدة أهل السنة والجماعة الكرامة أولياء حق. This is found in the text of Aqidah, of Creed, of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, from the true Salaf, from the true Salafis, and the Khalaf, that the miracles performed by the awliya are the truth. Wallah, I only returned from Umrah a few weeks ago. And before we went to Umrah, alhamdulillah, we went to Baghdad Sharif, to Sarkar Ghousia, then to Karbala and Allah and Masjid as well. But on the border of Jordan and Iraq, we saw a karama. I saw it with my own eyes. Nobody can tell me that awliya are able to perform karama. I saw this with my own eye. It was time to Salat al-Maghrib, and there was high winds on the border. And there was so much sand that was flying about, you understand, almost like a sandstorm. The people on the border were telling us, get indoors, there's a sandstorm. And one of the brothers in our group said, you know, if it rains now, then this will be good because it will subdue the sand and the sand will come down. So there was an individual who stepped outside and he looked towards the sky and he said, Ya, he just lifted his hand and said, Ya. In that instant it starts to rain. And this individual, when he done this, I thought, what did you just do? And he says, I just asked Allah to rain. هذا كرامة الأولياء. This is a miracle of one of the awliya of Allah. And remember, the awliya of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they do not have to be known. The best of the awliya are those that are unknown. When I saw this wasn't the first time I've seen something out of the ordinary. Karama is something that logic cannot explain. Hence it's a karama which has been proven by the Quran al-Kareem. The incident of Sayyidina Khidr alayhi salam. The incident of Sayyidina Maryam. And the reason I mention these things is because one of the signs of Qiyamah is that people will stop believing in the awliya. And stop believing in the awliya means they will refuse miracles attributed to the awliya. And the ulama of the Salaf have said, the Salafi, the true Salafi ulama, the pious predecessors have said that to deny miracles attributed to awliya is a sign of disbelief itself. Why? Because the Quran proves it. So you cannot misinterpret it. You cannot say it does not exist. Of course it exists. And if they say, no, this is all trickery of the eye, and this is all jinns do this, shaitan do. You know, some of the things that awliya do, I don't think shaitan would want that to happen in the first place. You understand? Shaitan would not want people to perform salah even after time was gone. And if one of the awliya made time fly back again, pray the salah. Shaitan wouldn't want that to happen. But awliya have done this. Awliya have done such things which shaitan would think, you know, if that happens, mera kara. You understand? Man's done over. Shaitan will get done over by some of the things that awliya do. So it's got nothing to do with shaitan. If anything, is to stop shaitan is when awliya perform the karama. So one of the signs of qiyamah is that people will openly start saying that awliya are not true and the karama are not true and this whole trickery of the eyes. No, it isn't. What these people do, these modern day magicians, what they do, this is all from the shayateen and from the jinn and trickery of the eye. You know, when people start to get used to this by watching all of these things and they think, you know, that's sick. You see what he did? That's sick. That's sick. No, it's not sick. It is sick in one sense. It's making your faith sick. It's making your iman sick. You understand? Nothing beautiful about it. But when people start getting used to this, when Dajjal does it, it won't be a great surprise to them because they've already believed it from non-believers. So when he says, why are you believing in God? Why are you believing in the messenger? Look what I can do. And one of the biggest things that he will do that will trick people is what? There will be a young, beautiful man from the Ummah of Sayyidina Nabi alayhi salatu wa taslim. And the Messenger of Allah has used the word beautiful for it. So he will be beautiful looking. You understand? Someone who stands firm in faith but young in age. Dajjal will eventually say, look, after performing many, many miracles, he'll make rain come down, he'll make vegetation grow from the ground, you understand? He'll make seas dry up, he'll make animals speak the language of humans, he'll turn humans into animals, all sorts of things he will do. And people will look at him and think, you're the man. But those people who fall for him, they will be thinking that they are entering Jannah, but they will not be entering Jannah. Their abode will be the punishment of Allah and hellfire. And those people who refuse to believe in him, he will say, you're going to be entering hell, and he will throw them towards his left-hand side. But they will not be entering hell. Inshallah, it has been said that these are the people of Jannah who refuse Dajjal. The little faith that they have speaks up. Iman speaks up. No, I cannot believe in you. But the Messenger of Allah spoke the truth. The last thing he will perform after claiming divinity, he will do this and say, I am God. The young man will stand in front of him, and the young man will say to him, it is Allah who gives life and Allah who gives death. It is Allah who gives life and death. He says, is that so? What if I kill you and bring you back to life again? He says, do it. So Dajjal will cut him in half. And then Dajjal will say, happen. He'll come back together again. And he'll say, now do you see who is God? And he says, I disbelieve in you even more. Because the Messenger of Allah told us that you will do this, and it is apparent that you are the false Messiah, Dajjal. At that time, he will claim divinity, but then his kingdom will start to fall. Dajjal will rule. Dajjal will have a big ruling. You understand? He will have a big following. People who at one time believed that they are the foremost of believers, unfortunately they will be foremost in falling towards Dajjal. They will believe in him, they will accept what he says. Dajjal will be such a sorcerer and such a liar that everything he says, people will believe him. Which people whose faith is weak, whose iman is weak. Now, my brothers and my sisters who are listening, we as the Ummah of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, we have no right to doubt anyone's faith. You understand? When we see brothers or sisters who may not be necessarily practicing, don't look very practicing, we don't know what's inside their heart towards Allah. We don't know how they feel about our Master, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. You understand? Don't fall into that matter. He doesn't look very practicing, she doesn't look very practicing. Who is the one who has the right to say this? Allah. You understand? So never ever fall into that matter by judging someone's faith, regardless of what they look like. Now, it is praiseworthy to wear clothing that are more towards the Sunnah. There's no doubt. There's no doubt in keeping a beard is more towards the Sunnah. But the state of the heart is a very important state which we cannot comprehend. What's happening inside someone's heart, we don't know. Wallah, I tell you, some of the most pious people I've come across in my life, to look at them, you'd think, brothers are allowed to go to Fatiha. This is the way we are, we judge people. Understand? This is what we do. I've seen brothers who don't look very practicing, subhanAllah. Never a night goes by except that they pray Salat al-Tahajjud. Never a night goes by where at least they will sit for 1 minute, even if it's for 1 minute, praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What lies between them and Allah is between them and Allah. Don't be amongst those people who look around and think, he doesn't look practicing, she doesn't look practicing, look what she looks like, look what he looks like. What's in their heart? That's between them and Allah. And I say this because this is becoming very apparent in our community today. Now it's important to continuously give da'wah, call people to adorn the sunnah both outward and inward. But don't judge. Don't judge. People from the army of Dajjal will be foremost in this matter. And they will look towards others and say, you lot aren't believers, we're the true believers. Look at the stage of you. We're following the true Messiah. This is their trend. This is their sign. They will be foremost in being suspicion. You know, suspicion is such a matter. In the Quran and Kareem, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, do not get suspicious on one another. You understand? Do not do this. Even if you know that something is true about someone, conceal it. Conceal it. Why? Because everyone has eyes and everyone has a tongue. Today you do it to someone, and be assured, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will unleash people's tongues upon you and you will not be spared. You won't be spared. And this is so apparent in our community today as well. Every opportunity given speaking bad about someone. And even if you know that it is their fault, the fact that you concealed it, didn't let other people know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, you will conceal your faults. And remember, that day will come when everyone's faults will be opened up. Who are you going to turn to then? And you know what the shameful thing is? It will happen before you die. Your faults will start to become exposed in front of people before you die. Why? Because you've done it to someone else. And if someone does it about you, hold on to the Ahlullah, to the people of Allah. What is their sign? They don't care. The people of Allah, they don't care what others say about them. They don't even answer. Regardless of what they say, they won't answer. Why? Because when people start to slander our Master sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, who answered for him? Allah. And the things they were saying about you weren't even true. They may say it about you and me, and it may be true. But the fact is, you don't want people to know because it's shameful. Don't answer. You know when they called him a liar, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Allah replied. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala came to the defense of His beloved. If you are true to the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, adopt his sunnah and stay quiet. Regardless of what they say, whoever it is, adopt silence. Because silence is golden. In this matter, it is definitely golden. The more you remain silent, the more you remain patient, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make you hereafter easy. And totally rely upon Allah. That, Ya Rabb, you know why this is happening to me, and you will get me out of it. This is the way of my sins being forgiven. The reason I mention this is because this is one of the signs of the army of Dajjal. They consistently slander people. Consistently speak bad about people, make up rumors about people. Even if something is true and it's shameful, they expose it, and they look exposing so and so. हाजिरो नाजिरो नूरो बशरो गैब को छोड़ शुक्र कर वो तेरे ऐबों को छुपाए हुए हैं शुक्र कर thank Allah that the Masjid has concealed your faults today. Allah के प्यारे रसूल ने हमारे ऐबों को छुपाए हुए हैं. He's concealed our faults. Of course, every Monday mornings and every Thursday mornings he supplicates for us in Rawdat Rasul. Allahumma starawati wa amin rawati. And just to say for himself, he says it for his ummah. Oh Allah, conceal their faults, delete their faults. Why? Because this is my community. And we from his community, what do? Actually, don't fall into this matter. This is a sign of the people of Dajjal. The sign of the people of Ahlul Yaman, the people of the right hand side, who remain silent and keep saying Alhamdulillah. Kuch bhi ho, Alhamdulillah. If someone said this about you, Alhamdulillah. Someone said great, Alhamdulillah. Main kya karu? What can I do? Unhone kaha na, unse kuch main kya karu? But the people of Dajjal, who? आपको पता है उन्होंने ऐसा किया उसके बारे में मैंने सुना उसके बारे में तो मैंने वो सुना I've heard this about him. I've heard that. Is it true? Gossip mongers, people of Dajjal. These are the signs that have been given. Who are we? The Ahlul Yaman, Ahlul Shimal. The people of the right and the people of the left. This is how, when it becomes so common, when it becomes so widespread, these sort of things, when they become widespread, this is the preparation of the army of Dajjal becoming apparent. So when Dajjal eventually calls them, they will be foremost in going towards it because they've already been doing it. They've already been backbiting, slandering, lying, believing in silly magicians. You understand? Tarkus Salah, leaving their prayer, not having their heart attached to the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So when Dajjal finally declares himself, they'll say, he is the real Messiah. Dajjal will travel around the whole world except the true blessed sanctuaries. He won't be able to get in. There will be angels guarding the city of Makkah al-Mukarramah and Madinah al-Munawwarah. But before he comes, the tremor that's going to happen, there's going to be two major tremors in the blessed lands, Makkah al-Mukarramah and Madinah al-Munawwarah. The ground shakes. In those two tremors, the hypocrites will be separated from the believers. When Makkah al-Mukarramah and Madinah al-Munawwarah shakes on two occasions, the hypocrites will leave. Only the believers will remain. Only the believers will remain. Do you know where in Madinah al-Munawwarah Dajjal is going to come up to? Has this been made apparent to you? Where the Mount of Uhud is, the plains of Uhud. Uhud, yes? That is known as the White Mountain. Yes? If you have your back towards the mountain and you look straight, right in front of you at the distance you will see a black mountain. On top of that black mountain there is a palace. That palace belongs to one of the princes of the Saudi royal family. That is the mountain that the Messenger ﷺ pointed at and he said this is the black mountain where Dajjal will come. There's a palace over there by the Saudi royal family. And it makes you think. The Messenger ﷺ told us.
Does the prince know that, does he?
Of course he does. He's a sheikh, isn't he? The Messenger ﷺ told us, the hadith which is in the Sahih of Imam Muslim, that this is the mountain. But why would the prince want to build a palace on that mountain? Think. Who are the people of Dajjal? And all of these things, if you read Ahadith al-Nabawi Sharif, and if you look at the signs of these people, everything fits into line. But our mind is being diverted. Our mind is being diverted from the truth. We are being shown all sorts of things on TV and on the computer. And have you seen this documentary? Have you seen that documentary? And people are making you believe that others are the people of Dajjal. And the real people of Dajjal are trying to conceal their ways. But they call whoever the Quran and Hadith speak about, their faults will never be concealed. Their wrong will not be concealed. Because the Messenger of Allah spoke about them. So Dajjal will travel around eventually. Sayyidina Mahdi alayhi salam will speak to Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam and say, look, this is what's happened. Dajjal has traveled around the whole world. Okay? He's gathered a big army and he has declared war upon us. So they will start, the battle will start. Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam will hunt Dajjal down. He will travel with the armies. Understand? On the way to where they eventually hunt Dajjal down, there will be many, many small battles that will happen. They eventually track him down where? You know, in the state of Palestine. Allah protect that land, inshallah. Wa ahlaha, the people of that land. Ya Rabb. What they call the state of Israel and Jerusalem city, the Israeli airport. You know the airport in Israel, international airport. That is the ground that has been mentioned by the Prophet ﷺ, that this is where Dajjal will be killed. And how will he die? As Sayyidina Isa ﷺ approaches him, the closer he gets, Dajjal will start to melt. He will start to melt, and the people of Dajjal will start to melt because of the heavenly fumes of the body of Sayyidina Isa ﷺ. They'll start to melt. Eventually, Sayyidina Isa ﷺ, using a spear, will throw it in the back of the false Messiah Dajjal, and Dajjal will fall and he will die. فِي نَارِ جَهَنَّمَ خَالِدِينَ فِيهَا. Nobody say La ilaha illallah. When Dajjal dies, Jahannam achieved, belonging to hellfire. Dajjal will be no more, and that fitna will stop. We have then the emergence of Ya'juj Ma'juj. Now Ya'juj Ma'juj, you know, there is a theory that has been presented that today that Ya'juj Ma'juj have already emerged, and Ya'juj Ma'juj have already declared themselves and they've already come out. According to the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, this doesn't make sense, because this will happen when Sayyidina Isa is already declared. You understand? So Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam, he will be around at that time, okay? Before the passing of Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam, who are the Ya'juj Ma'juj? Ya'juj Ma'juj are the descendants of Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salam's lineage. It is a tribe of people, and the reason they are known as Ya'juj Ma'juj is because this group of people are the descendants of an individual whose name was Ya'juj and Ma'juj. Ya'juj Ma'juj. Ya'juj go bad, Ma'juj go bad. You understand? It's a tribe that has two groups in it. They are that group of people which lived in the time of Alexandria, Iskandariya, who's been mentioned in the Quran al-Karim. Now up here, also understand, this movie that has come out and it portrays a very, very negative picture of Al-Iskandariya, rahimahullah ta'ala. Okay? Zulqarnain. You understand? Zulqarnain, the one who bore two horns. Because the helmet he used to wear had two horns. And who was Zulqarnain? Zulqarnain was a wali of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he was a mighty warrior and soldier who traveled around the world for the sake of Allah. You understand? Eventually, he went to the area of where Jabal Qasqas is, the Caucasus Mountains, Jabal Qasqas. It was in that area when a group of people came to him and they said, please help us. There is a group of people who come from the other side of the mountain and they come and eat our livelihood, and they eat our animals, they eat our cows, they eat our sheep, they drink all the water of our river, they even take our people and eat our people like cannibals. Who are these people? The group of Ya'juj and Ma'juj. Al-Iskandariya, Zulqarnain, the one who has two horns, with his army he rounded this group of people up within the Caucasus Mountains, Jabal Qasqas. Okay? And he had a wall built around them. This wall consisted of lead, copper, wood, very raw materials that were melted, and this big fort was built around this group of people. This is the group of people that is Ya'juj and Ma'juj. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa gave us the news that closer to Qiyamah, they will come out. They will come out of this fort. And how will they come out? Every day they will be making the fort thinner and thinner and thinner. One narration says that they will be licking the wall and making it thinner and thinner and thinner. Then they say we'll finish the rest of tomorrow. They go back to rest, they come back and the wall is thick again. But one of them on one night will say, Inshallah, we will finish it tomorrow. The following day they will eventually break out. And when they break out of this fort, there will be great chaos around the world. Anything and everything they see, they will eat. Humans, animals, vegetation, any water they see, they will drink. They will drink rivers and seas dry. Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam with his followers at that time will run towards the mountain areas and they will hide in the mountains. And they will ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for His protection. Those are the only group of people who will be protected. The Ya'juj and Ma'juj, when they eventually go around, and they've been around the whole world, eating everything and everyone, they will say, now we've eaten everything and everyone, ma'adallah, let us kill God Himself. And they will fling arrows towards the sky. It has been described as arrows. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will order the angels to grab hold of these arrows, put blood on them and throw them back. These arrows will land again and the Ya'juj Ma'juj will say, look, there's blood on our arrows, we've killed God. Okay? Then Isa alayhi salam will supplicate for the destruction of Ya'juj and Ma'juj, the two groups. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will inflict Ya'juj and Ma'juj with great boils around their necks and armpits and private areas. Big spots that will split, and through the stench, the smell of whatever comes out of these big spots, they will start to die. And eventually death will overcome them. Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam will then supplicate to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it rain and cleanse the land of them. It will rain for 40 days and 40 nights. Their weapons will then be collected after the rain, and the weapons will be burned. 2 fires will burn for the next 40 years. This fire will be burning, and in this fire, at that time, will be Sa'at al-Barakah, the hour of blessings. In this time, there will be so many blessings that Isa alayhi salam will come down from the mountains. There will be so much blessing that one cow will be enough to feed 7 tribes. One pomegranate will be enough to feed 7 families. These fires that will burn, the meat will be cooked on these fires. There will be so much blessing, barakah in that time, that a lion will sit with a sheep without attacking one another. A lion will sit with a sheep without attacking one another. You understand? That time will come, and then Sayyidina Isa ala nabiyyina alayhi salatu wasalam eventually will taste death. As mentioned in the Quran, kullu nafsin dha'iqatul maut. He will taste death and he will be buried in the road of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Thereafter, it will be qurb al-qiyamah, very close to qiyamah. There will be a fog that comes about. Believers will die in that fog, souls will be taken away. The only people who remain at that time will be people who have no faith. Then that time will come that there will be people with no faith at all, and then the angel will be ordered to blow the horn and Qiyamah will start. Leading up to all of this, now these signs that I've mentioned to you have been put down as the major signs of Qiyamah. Okay? The Dukhan, the 40-day smoke. What is this sign? This sign, someone mentioned that in one of their talks, and Wallah, I sincerely believe this person only mentioned this is because maybe they shouldn't know of the matter completely. And Wallah, I'm not saying that this person is a wrong individual and should not follow far from it. If you ever come across them, listen to their talks and speeches, there's a great hikmah in there. But one thing they have mentioned is not in line with the prophetic tradition regarding the smoke. You know, in Iceland, when that volcano erupted and that smoke came out, Yes, do you not remember? You remember? And a lot of flights were cancelled. Many flights to Pakistan were cancelled. Boy. So many flights were cancelled because of that smoke. This person mentioned that this was the smoke that the Prophet ﷺ spoke about, the 40-day smoke. It wasn't. Because Sayyidina Nabi alayhi said that this smoke will come from Yemen. He said it will come from Yemen. Number two, it will last for 40 days and 40 nights. It will last for 40 days and 40 nights, this smoke. This is a sign. There will be a great fire in Yemen, and because of the fire, because of the intensity of the fire and the amount of things burning, there will be smoke for 40 days and 40 nights. When this happens, straight after, the major signs will become apparent. Now, if you look towards Yemen today and what is happening there, if you look towards Bilal al-Sham, what is happening there, if you look around the whole world, what is happening everywhere, there's no need to go towards even Bilal al-Sham and Yemen to look for the signs. Look around you here in the UK, look around you in London, look around you in Walthamstow. What's happening? Tarku Salah, people leaving the Salah. Mosques are empty, haram places are full. Every single household has haram music playing in it, and an idol worship has entered every household. And if someone says, well, there's no one worship idols in my house, what do you mean? You know when you switch the TV on, and especially for those of you who watch these Indian dramas on these Indian channels, these Indian dramas, and a lot of our mothers and sisters have become so involved in these Indian dramas, they actually compare their lives to these dramas. Well, they post drama me dawa. They post this out dawa. When you switch them on, at the beginning, they will have idols that are worshipped by people. And it's in our own house we see it. Idol worship will enter every house. The hadith doesn't say that every believer will worship an idol. It says idol worship will enter every house. So this is happening around us today. No household will have peace in it. किसी के घर में सुकून नहीं रहेगा. चैन और अमन की जिंदगी लोग भूल जाएंगे. You know, a life of security and peace, people will forget what it was like. Need, but it's sustainable. You know what it means? That sleep becomes cheap. People will yearn for a good night's sleep. People say, I can't remember the last time I had a good night's sleep. There's always something on the mind, or you went late into the night doing something and then you didn't have enough sleep. This is a sign. Metal will fly. It's obvious. Aeroplanes. String will give fire. Electricity. I touched the string. That's fire. You see? I'm not saying these are bad things. Don't get twisted. These are all signs of Qiyamah. The Qiyamah, the major signs are now here. We're just waiting for them. Water will come out of metal. Turn it up on today. Water comes out of it. If you read all of these signs, and then it becomes out, subhanAllah, this is true, this is true, this is true, this is true. People will sit in one part of the world, but be conversing with someone on the other side of the world. With the huruf were high. Pick up a mobile phone, you could be speaking to someone in Iceland, you could be speaking to someone in Africa, on the other side of the world. It's very easy. You understand? People will pray Salah. The 5 times Salah, the first Salah in one country, but end in another country. I do this on a regular basis. Prayed Fajr in the UK. I ended up in Australia, prayed Zohar there. Zohar not even in Isha, because of the time difference and so on and so forth. Sign of Qiyamah. Sign of Qiyamah. The world will become a smaller place. Allah, the world is a very small place. Very small place. So small, you can't imagine how small. So small. I can't give other people's examples, I give my own example. When I was in Australia not so long ago, there was a brother who came to one of the talks that I was giving, and he said, "You're from Leicester, aren't you?" And the talk hadn't started yet. I was just in the Masjid praying Salah. He goes, "You're from Leicester?" I said, "I'm from Leicester. How do you know Leicester?" He goes, "Oh, I was there last year, and I came to your Masjid for Jummah." I was, "What are you doing here?" He goes, "I'm here to visit some family." That was a small world, isn't it? The world has become a small place. You could be doing something somewhere. You understand? I'm And people will describe it somewhere else, sign of Qiyamah. That Qiyamah is close. Very, very close. Very close. The most unfortunate sign is that when people, Imam Rasulullah said that a believer is safe from another believer's hand and tongue. A true believer is safe from another believer's hand and tongue. Meaning you've got nothing to fear from another believer. They'll never say anything bad about you. Another believer will never harm you with their hand. When this particular prophetic tradition, when it becomes sort of not abided by anyone, we can't say non-existent because it's a hadith. But when people do not abide by it even more, they know that Qiyamah is extremely close. Today, believers are not safe from one another's tongues and hands. We have fallen, and the reason I keep mentioning this is because we have fallen so greatly into this matter that we have lost out on the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have earned His displeasure. We have earned His displeasure. We have earned the displeasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I say we, me included, all of us. All of us have. We have gone so far in the matter where scholars, awam, parents, brothers, sisters, friends, nobody is safe from our own tongue. And the saddest thing is when people are not able to live a life peacefully, not because they are endangered from the non-believers, it's because believers put them into danger. And why did the Messenger of Allah ﷺ emphasize upon this again and again and again and again? Because it will happen, and it has happened. Nobody is safe. This is the time where fitna has become so far and widespread that if you don't fear going out of your house, you better stop fearing. You better stop fearing. Because our Master wasn't spared from this. His children weren't spared from this. And remember the people who committed fitna against Sayyidina Hassan and Sayyidina Hussain. The people who committed fitna against them were people who prayed the kalima. They were Muslims, who called themselves Muslims. And when the Messenger of Allah said it will happen again closer to Qiyamah, we are seeing it with our own eyes today. Our scholars, when I say our scholars, Sadat-e-Karam ko nahi choda logon ne. Sayyid Zadon ko logon ne nahi choda. Aur kaun log apne aap ko Musalman, mu'min kehne wale. वे घोसे पाके यामी खा कर घोसे पाके औलाद को नहीं छोड़ा तो मैं किस खेत की हुई. So I sincerely hope and pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increases all of you, my brothers and sisters in Islam, Iman and Ihsan, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes you sincere towards the deen. Every opportunity given to you by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, repent to Him. Do tawbah. Every opportunity given to you, do tawbah not only for yourself, but the whole ummah. I'm praying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protects me and you from fitan wal fasad. And if you trace that in time, the smallest thing you are able to do in which you know you will earn a reward, do it. Even if it is as simple as pouring a glass of water for someone, do it. Even if it is holding the door open for someone, do it. For you never know, it could be that one deed that saves you on the day of Qiyamah. It could be that one deed. And constantly, consistently pray for the forgiveness of this ummah and the unification of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, that we become united. That Allah protects Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Allah protects the ulama of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Allah protects the awam of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Allah protects our mosques, our households, and if you know that there is fitna somewhere, my brothers and sisters, stay away from it. Stay away from it, because one thing that Allah says in the Quran, al-fitnatu ashaddu min al-qatl. Fitna is worse than killing someone. Without knowing the whole truth about a situation, speaking about it, and trying to spread it is worse than killing someone. So repent towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make you worthy enough of standing in His presence on the day of Qiyamah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive me and forgive you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not make us amongst those people about whom the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa said that there will come a time on the day of Qiyamah itself where I will turn my face away from. Allah not make us amongst those people from whom Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam turns his face away. Because if he does that, then nothing will be able to save me. If Rasulullah turns his face away from us, then nothing will save us. One thing that will make him turn his face away is if one believer turns against another believer. This is the reasoning the Messenger gave. That one of the things that will make me turn my face away from you is people will attribute lies to me, meaning the Messenger, and because of that turn away from one another. So Allah not make me and you amongst those people. Nasrullah ya Rasul al-Ladin bil-Atiyah. واغفر لنا يا ذا الجلال في هذه الساعة وبارك لنا في أوقاتنا وبارك لنا في أمورنا. اللهم ربنا اغفر لنا ولوالدينا ولإخواننا الذين سبقونا بالإيمان ولا تجعل في قلوبنا للذين آمنوا ربنا إنك رؤوف رحيم. اللهم ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. ربنا إنك جامع الناس ليوم لا ريب فيه إنك لا تخلف الميعاد. اللهم ربنا اغفر لنا ولوالدينا ولأساتذتنا ولشيخنا ولمشايخنا ولمن له حق علينا ولجميع المؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين. اللهم أيد الإسلام والمسلمين. اللهم انصر إخواني والمسلمين في كل مكان يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم ربنا اغفر لنا ولوالدينا رب ارحمهما كما ربياني صغيرا. استغفر الله ربي من كل ذنب أذنبته عمدا أو خطأ سرا أو علانية وأتوب إليه من الذنب الذي أعلم ومن الذنب الذي لا أعلم إنك أنت علام الغيوب والستار العيوب غفار الذنوب. ربي لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. اللهم ارزقنا توبة قبل الموت وراحة بالشهادة عند الموت ومغفرة بعد الموت وعفوا عند الحساب وأمانا من العذاب ونصيبا من الجنة يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم يا حي يا قيوم برحمتك نستغيث وبعذابك نستجير. اللهم ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. اللهم ربنا إنك جامع الناس ليوم لا ريب فيه إنك لا تخلف الميعاد. اللهم احفظنا من كل بلاء الدنيا والعذاب الآخرة. اللهم احفظنا فإنك أنت خير الحافظين واغفر لنا فإنك أنت خير الغافرين وارحمنا فإنك أنت خير الراحمين وافتح لنا فإنك أنت خير الفاتحين يا أكرم الأكرمين ويا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم توكلت عليك يا ربي وفوضت إليك أمري وفوضت أمورنا إلى الله إن الله بصير بالعباد. بكل نية صالحة بنية القبول وهب لنا كل سوء ببركة سيدنا الرسول صلوات ربي والسلام عليه وعلى آله خصائص اللطف وعافية خير إلى حضرة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. الفاتحة. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا ومولانا محمد طب القلوب ودوائها وعافية الأبدان وشفائها ونور الأبصار وضيائها وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. صلاة وسلاما عليك يا رسول الله. صلاة وسلاما عليك يا حبيب الله. صلاة وسلاما عليك يا نبي الله. ورضي الله تبارك وتعالى عن أصحاب رسول الله أجمعين وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.